welcome to Basketball Talk Pro. My name is Ron Ekker. First of all, I want to mention to those people who wanted to attend the Monk Offense kind of a clinic talk on Saturday, and I promised them that we would record it and they could see it then. Well, we had a mishap with the recording. Really wasn't our fault. It was more the system's fault. But we did talk to go to meeting, and we've got it worked out. So what I'd like to do is do it again on Sunday this time at 12 o'clock noon because I think a lot more of you can make it. I know a lot of you have games and things on Saturday morning, and it's hard to get there. So we'll do it again because it was a pretty large number of people who wanted to be there, and he emailed me about it and wanted to know how they could watch it. Well, you can watch it on Sunday live, and that's the way I would prefer you see it rather than a recording. But we will record it, and so we want you all to have an opportunity. But the best way is to be there. You know, I'm giving you a week now. You know, make arrangements. Sometimes you have to say no to some other things, even though they're pretty important. But this, you know, helping your career is important also. So use good judgment on that. And then on one other note, we've had a number of people come to me about the library, the Coaches Learning Library, the 165 videos in one spot, and also a training program made from the videos that go along with it. As I told you before, I want to work with you. If the funds are a problem, call me and we'll try to work it out. But there is a better way if you can get it done, and that is go to your school or your organization or whoever you are working with and suggest to them that this is something they could purchase. If it's an institution, you are able to use it for many coaches. They tell me that schools give money for things like this. This is certainly a honest request for a chance for you to improve yourself and get some training that you can't get any other way, and that should help the organization or school or whoever you are with. And if you want my help, you just have to email me, or call me is a little better, because I want to kind of know who I'm talking to. I will call your athletic director or your principal or your superintendent or your owner or whatever is the right thing to do, and explain very clearly to them the benefit of it for you and them. So give that some thought. I prefer, though, coaches have their own, because if you're sharing back and forth, you don't get the use that you really should have out of it. Well, as I told you, the survey, you know, was very there's a lot of interest in, especially the area of subjects that they wanted me to cover. A lot of those requests, though, were, to me, pretty fragmented, hard to tie them into anything. And I'll just quickly talk about one, and that is the request for side out of bounds, end out of bounds, and I think it was into quarter out of bounds. I really can't handle that one. Because I don't know your team, I don't know your players, I don't know your situation. Out of bounds plays, a couple of things you should know. They tend to be designed for certain players or certain situations. But in the long run, they're pretty minor to the outcome of a game. They probably don't have any effect on the outcome of a game. You know, don't major in minors. You should be thinking in terms of the what's really going on in the game, and that is, you know, the half-court offense is run more than anything by large numbers. The other thing you should know is, and I have graded and broken down hundreds of out-of-bounds plays by NBA teams, college teams, and they are the worst performing plays of all of them. And the reason for that is the defense is so rock hard set. Even after a made basket, you know, you have a little bit of motion that keeps the defense a little bit off of you know, the rhythm. But the out-of-bounds plays, they're just sitting there waiting for you. And plus, out-of-bounds plays are very predictable. So it's not hard for them to, and there's a lot of sameness. Many teams run them. So, you know, the players themselves can pick it up pretty quickly on the floor, and they are predictable. So here you have a set defense and a predictable play. It doesn't bode well for success. I don't think it has much effect. But I just can't give you any. I've given up on those things a long time ago. We just throw the ball in and run Monk. Monk is going to scramble that defense faster than anything, and you know, that's all we do. And a lot of teams are going in that direction. People who run the triangle, for example, they run the triangle from out of bounds. Throw it in, run the triangle. And I think you'll have just as good or better success with that. But there was one request we're going to talk about today. The request was actually a question: who runs a system, uses a system that you know, that the coaches can kind of identify with? And there's a lot of them, and I certainly can't name all of them, but I'll give you some that not only stand out, but are more easily identified. In the NBA right now, from what I've seen this year and last year, there's one, and that's Popovich at San Antonio. Not only because he won the, you know, the NBA championship, but because he's been running a system for many, many years. His players are so tuned into it that, you remember the little guard got hurt last year in the finals, and when they interviewed him about it, I'm talking about the guard now, the player, he was, you know, he was very astute with his answer. He said, it's the system that wins. We just are, you know, we put it together for him. But as long as we have the system, whoever comes in is going to be able to work effectively. So that's one. Of course, Phil Jackson with the triangle. Definitely a strong system. He never budges on that at all. And another good system in the NBA. He isn't coaching now, but this was a great system, and that was Jerry Sloan with the Utah Jazz. Now, on those three, two of those were really following another system. Phil was running the triangle that Tex Winter perfected in college. And Jerry Sloan was running Dick Motta's offense, which he perfected both in college and in the NBA. Then, of course, in college, one that stands out is Coach K at Duke. I like what he does. He makes some changes a little bit from year to year, but pretty much it's the Duke system, and that has been very effective. Another two that I would mention who aren't coaching but are legends in the game are Dean Smith at North Carolina, who ran a system very similar to what we do with the Monk system. Neither one of us were copying because we didn't even know the other guy and didn't even know what they were doing. But he ran plays, half court, but he also ran what he called a freelance passing game. If you read his book, he had a hard time coming up with a name, so he just kind of used that. And then the other guy is John Wooden, no denying his system. And Denny Crum, his assistant, took it to Louisville and won 2 championships with it. Ran the same system that what John Wooden does. You know, in reality, I think that if you really, with Wooden, I didn't really know this until that last book that was written about him. He really was running the system that he played in college with a guy by the name of Lambert, who was an up and down, very fast guy. And John Wooden tended to like and promote, you know, a faster paced game. But when you boil it all down with John Wooden, it's probably his pyramid that created the system. Because that was always on his mind. But there's a couple that stand out that are really different, and I want to mention those because that's a system too. One of them is, the first one is Paul Westhead. I worked with Paul for a year, and as anybody who's ever heard of him and knows him, his game was terrific speed and terrific shot taking, and you know, I kind of wondered about that. But as I watched him in practice, he lived or died with that fast break, and he really had a system. Every drill he used, everything he did was based on the main concept was speed. Because, you know, we had a lot of discussions in our meetings, but that was one thing he would not ever give in on. It was speed. But his system was really well designed. I could not do that. I don't think many coaches could, and I've told Paul that. You know, you have to be a head coach to run that system, because most head coaches could not live with the shots that were taken so quickly. And so, you know, he just took that little niche and built it into a real system that won a ton of games for him. And you could identify his system without hardly knowing it. And the other one is a guy at Syracuse. He has taken a very simple 2-3 zone and built a system out of it. You know, that's a very easy zone, but what he has done with it is remarkable. And everything he does, it relates to that 2-3 zone. And he plays it every minute of every game. It's not a stop-gap thing. This is I mean, he's going to live and die with that zone. And but that's what you have to do when you build a system. And I just want to, first of all, let me say this: that there's others, a lot of others, and a lot of people who have a system don't know they have a system. I mean, they can't verbalize it. what it is, but they have instinctively built it. But there's most people, I'd say 80 to 90% of coaches that I see don't have a system. I don't know if they even know what a system is. And I want to take this a lot farther at another time. But suffice it to say, from me, a system is powerful, just plain powerful. It's the kind of thing that gives you longevity, makes you a legend, makes you identified, helps you win a lot of games, and helps you help a lot of players. It's something that you must consider. If you haven't and you don't have one, get one, because it'll make all the difference in the world to you. Now, how do you know if you've got one or don't have one, or how do we know who has a system? Here's a test for you. If you can say in 2 sentences, nothing more, just 2 sentences, what your system is, without mentioning an offense or a defense. You can use the words offense and defense, but not like I hear so many people when I ask them if they got a system, that they come back with, well, we were running the Princeton offense, and on defense we use a 3-2 zone press, drop back into a 2-3 zone. That is not a system. They're parts of the system. So those 2 sentences need to say exactly what you are building. If you want an example, you can go to the book, Volume 2. There's a chapter on the monk system. The first 2 sentences of that chapter tell you all you need to know about the monk system. And then after that, everything from that point on of the book on, everything relates to those 2 sentences. Now, when you make 2 sentences, don't feel you're tied into it. You can change. There's nothing wrong with that, changing the sentences. You may want to add something or take something out. For example, in the book, I'm thinking about revising that book. If I do, I will change slightly one of those sentences because things change, and maybe you just didn't word it right. And there's also this. You may want to crash those 2 sentences that you were working from. It isn't working for you, and it doesn't feel right. So nothing wrong with that either. But you should be able then to what you're going to do with the new system, be able to give us 2 sentences that tell us what it is and what everything needs to relate to. Well, that's the key, of course, and when you start to build it, I'm not going to go in real depth on this one today. I will tell you this, base it on your heart, base it on your love for something, base it on something you value very high. In the Bible, Jesus says to his disciples, where your heart is, that's where your treasure lies. And this is true of your system. Don't try to build somebody else's. Build it unless it's something that really fits for you personally, fits for your values that you value. A lot of coaches try to get jobs by saying we're going to be, up and down, real fast team, and then they coach different. You want to say what you really are and what you really feel strongly about. Because you're going to be tested in many ways. You're going to be criticized. Your players are going to test you. Fans of media, your management. You have to really have a strong commitment to it. Paul Westhead was terrific. I mean, he'd take anybody on, players, owners, anybody, to protect his, to defend his system. And what the advantage of it is that I can say it best in just a very short sentence, and it's, you know, the dictionary says the same thing. Everything relates to your system. It's a wonderful feeling. You take out all those things that are just fragments, get rid of them, and everything now focuses on your system. And what that allows you to do is have more time for doing the real important things. You were not majoring in minors. You were majoring in majors. Everything has to fit. Everything. Who your players are, who your coaches are, assistant coaches, the way you run practice, the time, everything relates to that two sentences that you put there. But you have to have a lot of staying power. You're gonna hear a lot of things. People are going to question everything you do. Look at what's happening in New York now with Phil Jackson. He's won 11 NBA championships. Nobody's ever done that before and probably never will match it. And he did it with a very simple offense called the triangle. It used to be called the triple post. He got it from Tex Winter. Tex Winter is the guy that designed it, and he actually took it from his college coach to a certain extent. But you have to be able to stand up to that. If you can stand up to New York City's writers, you know, you can stand up to about anything. So be prepared for that. Stay the course. Be committed to it. Love it. It's something you want to do every day of your life. And it's the best thing you can do. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. In your organization. You will be more successful. You will be building something of merit, and it's a great thing for your players. They will be more comfortable and know what they will always be knowledgeable of what they're doing, why they're doing it, how it fits in, and you as a coach can sleep a lot better at night because you don't have to worry about all those fragmented things. They're all gone, and you are focusing very clearly on what counts. Well, I just want to end by saying my hope for you guys is that you win plenty of games. All you need to make yourself happy and the people that supervise you, and that you're giving your players all you can give them to help them to reach the very highest that they can go, regardless of what part of life they decide on. We will see you next time, and thank you for watching.